sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and can even keep you from getting the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS.
Last weekend, as I record this, was Father's Day, which is strange. Even though I've got two children, one that's 19 and one that's 16, I've never really thought about Father's Day being for me. It's always been about my dad, which I guess is the right way. And my dad died, 4 years ago this summer. And so Father's Day for me is often a time of reflection and thinking about dad and what he meant to me and what he taught me. And there are a ton of things. But one of the things that my dad taught me, he showed me that he just lived. It wasn't like he intentionally taught me this, but he taught me about a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A growth mindset means that things can change, that we can change who we are, what we do, what we know at any point in our lives. A fixed mindset means I am who I am and I can't be no ammer, as Popeye, for those of you that know who the hell Popeye is, right? Not going to change. This is who I am. You can't teach me anything. I'm just not going to change. This is where we begin to make excuses. I'm not an athlete. I used to tell that to myself when I was 20 years old. I'm not an athlete. I didn't just tell that to me. I told it to anybody else who asked me why I was 225 pounds and fat and smoking and drunk all the time. I know some of you were surprised by that, but yes, that was me in college and for a while after. And if I had a fixed mindset, that would still be me because that's just who I am, right? That is a bullshit excuse. My father, who died at 95, I've told this story to some of my clients. They had a mountain house that I used to love to go to, a little cabin way up in the mountains. And 10 years ago, my father had just turned 90. And he was reading Walter Edgar's wonderful book about the history of South Carolina. And so I saw him, he was halfway through. I said, Dad, what the hell are you doing? You're 90 years old. Why the hell are you reading history? You're probably on page 3 in that damn book. Just give him a hard time. And he looked up at me and with a dead serious face, he said, the longer I live, the more I realize that there is to learn. My dad loved to learn. He practiced law for 45 years. Crazy. 45 years. But then at 70, because of a rule that he said, he had to retire. He lived 25 more years. Now, a lot of people that I know, right, as soon as they retire, they go downhill. They no longer feel important. My dad, with his time, he said, I want to go get in shape. And he'd always been relatively, he kind of paid attention to what he ate and he did some exercise, but not much. But he hired a trainer. And for the next 25 years, he worked out at the gym. He was working out at the gym 6 months before he died. My father believed that there was so much to learn from everybody around him. My dad would invite the guy who helped clean up our yard onto the front porch where my dad loved to sit and have him sit down, and he found out about his life. And they would laugh, and he became one of Dad's friends. And Dad knew about his kids, and Dad knew about how he had gotten into what he was doing, what he loved about it. See, my father was eternally and always curious, sincerely curious. He wanted to know about other people. And it wasn't just an act. He knew that was where he knew that the information in the world was in other people. And Dad always, if you ever had a problem or you ever needed an answer to something, Dad was the guy to say, I don't know, but I know who you need to talk to. Dad, as many people do later in his life, he had some illnesses, had some heart stuff, had some other things, was lucky. He very healthy most of his life. I don't think he took any medicine until he was 70 years old. Crazy. Shit, I'm already pharmacopoeia going on over here just to keep my head straight. But Dad when he would go in to have procedures, he would ask the doctor, pepper the doctor with questions, not because he was afraid, but because he was interested. He went to go have some kind of heart thing done. And he would ask the doctor a ton of questions about it. And then when he got out, he'd ask the doctor a ton of questions about what was it like? How did you learn to do this? When did you first want to do this? What's the hardest part about your job? What surprised you when you went in to do mine? I don't know. You grew up with a dad like that, and that was normal to me, right? And Dad always saw, Dad was 70 years old. He bought an old truck, an old Mazda, just a crappy 2-wheel drive truck they loved. And it's pretty wild. At age 70, he went to Midlands Tech to learn how to change his own oil. What? Dad, it costs $30. Why are you doing that? He goes, because I've never learned. Seems like something I ought to know. Took the mechanics class, went out, spent, a couple $100 in Advance Auto, bought the ramps, bought the oil, bought the filters, bought the tools. And maybe he did it half a dozen times. But it was important to Dad. He's like, fuck, let's go learn. How about you? What are you learning? Or have you decided that you know all there is to know about everything? Do you know all there is to know about sales? Are you like, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. I got 20 years experience. Ask yourself, do you have 20 years experience? Or do you have 1 year experience 20 times? What are you working hard on to get better at right now? I don't give a shit how old you are. The way you are now can be drastically different, right? If you just work on getting 1% better a day, hell, 1% better a month. What is something that you can dig into and learn? Comes from reading books, comes from talking to other people, comes from, watching YouTube videos. Where are you challenging yourself? Or are you just saying, I guess it's the way I am. Hey, I got kids. I got no time for that shit. Remember, all these are excuses. There's so much more to life than what you're getting right now, than what I'm getting right now. What are you doing to try and fix that? I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Go learn something new. Go get better at something you already think you're good at. Go get them.
Thanks for listening to No BS Sales School podcast. If you haven't already, please take 1 minute to write a quick review for the show. It really does make a huge difference. Also, subscribe to the show and please forward this episode to somebody else who needs to hear it. As a bonus for listening, I'm going to give you access to a free mini course, 7 expensive sales mistakes you're making and what you can do about it. Go to www.7salesmistakes.com and get access to the free mini course. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.